Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. This is the regular meeting of the Labor and Economic Development Committee for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. It is now 3:02 Apple time. I am the chair, Ben Reno Weber. This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS. Oh, is it? Yeah. Do we have anyone? This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A. As I said, I'm Councilwoman Ben Reno Weber. I am joined by my Vice Chair, Councilwoman Bast. We are joined by Councilwoman Rui, Councilman Owen, Councilman Herndon, Councilman Batshon, and Councilman Batshon's guest. We expect Councilwoman Benson to join us here. Do we have anyone attending virtually? No, okay. All right, so we're going to start with item number 2 on the agenda. Will the clerk read the title of the item?
A resolution determining certain property at 4711, 4713, and 4715 Park Boulevard as surplus and not needed for a governmental purpose and authorizing its transfer. Read in full.
Motion.
Second. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Hello, my name is Amber Lelak. I'm with the Office of Housing and Community Development. I'm a project manager over there. And I will be presenting the surplus resolution for 4711, 4713, and 4715 Park Boulevard to the Louisville Regional Airport Authority at the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport for the consideration of $42,000, which is the appraised value obtained in September 2025. It will be consolidated as part of the airport. The combined lots are around 1/4 of an acre and located directly next to the runway area of the International Airport between Crittenden Drive and Strawberry Lane. And the airport has obtained other properties throughout there, and they own most of what is over there that they have had in their possession since 1996.
Okay. Do any of my colleagues have questions or thoughts? Councilman Owen.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a little bit of a question. I see here the property is owned by Jefferson County Kentucky Capital Projects Corporation, Metro Corporation.
Yes.
What is that, and how did they come to have these properties in their possession?
So the CPC was established. It's an agency. They do have the authority of Louisville Metro government and acquisition, improvement, and construction of public projects. They're currently listed as the owner of the property, but they are considered a metro entity. So prior to the closing of this agreement, if it's voted yes upon, it will have to be signed off by David Kaplan.
So the one piece I didn't, how did they come to have these properties under their ownership? I'm assuming there was no eminent domain authority that had to be exercised in order to get the properties, but do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, but I can find out for you. Or Jeff?
Hello, Jeff O'Brien, Executive Director for Economic Development. So the Capital Projects Corporation is a duly established authority under the KRS. They do have the power of eminent domain. The Capital Projects Corporation was established to originally help Jefferson County acquire and do development projects. So some other projects that you might be familiar with is the UPS headquarters in Linden. That was one of the projects that they did. Also the Aegon Tower in downtown, along with helping with the airport expansion in the 1980s. So that is on that board. I might get this wrong, so I'm going to look back at the county attorney, but the mayor, the president of the Metro Council, and the Metro CFO sit as board members of the Capital Projects Corporation.
So how did this corporation get the deed to these 3 properties?
This is part of the property acquisition for the airport expansion, and for some reason these 3 lots were not transferred over at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Let the record reflect that we have been joined by Councilwoman Dr. Paula McCraney, Councilman Purvis, and Councilman Stuart Benson. Any further questions or thoughts? Okay. Seeing none.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
May I?
You may indeed.
Thank you so much for being here. I guess my question revolves around future growth of the airport and additional development and creating it to be more of a connecting hub and/or just getting a little bit more traffic through there. What does that look like for the airport, and where do we stand there? And what are the pieces of that puzzle that need to be put together?
I think that is a question that is better answered by a representative from the airport, whom we have here, Adam Thomas. He's the Vice President of Airport Properties and Concessions at the Louisville Airport, and he would be happy to answer that question.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. If you, I guess, state your name and everything.
Adam Thomas, 700 Administration Drive, Louisville, Kentucky.
Appreciate it. And if it's okay, Mr. Chair, I guess the question is piggybacked off my recent trip out of town and back into Louisville. And I connected in a couple other airports, and I just noticed the hustle and the bustle and just the economic driver and money that's going in and out of these other airports. And I asked myself the question, why not us, right? What do we need to do as a city to do better and grab some of those dollars we're leaving on the table, I think you would say?
Yeah, that's a great question. And one thing I would like to point out, and maybe I'm not the most person to speak to this, but we just released an economic impact study. So through SDF, we generate over $13 billion in economic impact in the community. Generates over $550 million in tax revenue to the community. So we support over 90,000 jobs in this community. One out of 8 jobs in Louisville community is generated by the airport. So I think you are seeing significant growth, but right now, what we're trying to do is really grow air service, grow opportunities that we have here. And I think you're starting to see that we're over 35 nonstop destinations. So we continue to grow. We've seen that positive momentum. Now we're doing a lot of improvements inside of our terminal program to enhance that experience. So hopefully you're seeing that on your trips in and out of the airport.
Yes, absolutely. I think it looks great. I think the improvements inside the airport are fabulous. I think, when it comes to modernization and cleanliness of airports, I think we're hitting that bar and setting that standard. I guess I look to see what can we do to increase the traffic flow inside the airport, and creating more of that connecting flight area or better rim to get people in and out more. What do we need to do as far as economic development within the city? What do we need to do about what are we going after? What do we need to hear from the airport to create that?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of good partnerships with our community stakeholders in Louisville Metro as we try to grow air service here. So I think we've got a lot of good business leaders that we've been supporting behind to kind of grow that. We have good information on the demographics of the community and how to grow that. We've got a great team who handles our marketing and air service, who really knows the numbers and tries to find out how we can grow those based on our demographics that we have here locally.
Mr. Chair, I have one final question, if that's okay. How much more growth can you sustain with the amount of space that you currently have, I guess is a valid question.
From a passenger standpoint?
Yeah.
We're pretty comfortable right now. I think last year we were around 2.3 million enplanements or so. We're well equipped for that. We can definitely grow more. Our checkpoint expansion is going to increase our throughput going up to 10 lanes. So from a screening perspective, we're good. We're good on gates right now. Like I said, we have the ability to grow. I can't tell you what that number is, but we can accommodate future growth at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Bast.
Hi, thank you for joining us. I was just curious, is there any future plans to make Louisville International a true international airport?
And again, that kind of falls back on our air service, and I'm more of the real estate person, so I can't speak to that. But we are taking some enabling steps on having a FIS deployed at the airport. So we started looking at design, and then what a FIS means is you can have a facility that's provided by customs, so you can go have an international flight and you can clear here. Right now, we do not have that. So we're taking the initial design steps to look at that and have a plan down the road to happen. So right now, that's the biggest step right now is you cannot fly international direct from a passenger perspective, but we're working on that to have that in place. And that's a big focus of our organization, to have that service, so we can go out and market to the carriers and say, hey, we have the demand to go to these destinations. Now we have the facilities to accommodate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see that in the future. Is there any limitations that's stopping you all from getting to that point?
No, we're a matter of just talking to our partners with CBP and then kind of going through a design and looking at a funding perspective. But right now, we're not there yet. We're just evaluating it at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And if I can follow on, Councilman Batchon, when we were in Milwaukee, Lita gave a really great presentation about the airport, and there were two pieces that were really interesting to me. One was that SDF has experienced 4 of its top 5 busiest years to date since 2019, and that recently we were in 2023, we were the fastest growing airport in America, and we're in the top 5 right now, I believe. So we're definitely trending in the right direction. And we're definitely seeing direct economic impact for businesses that are moving here because of our airport. Health Tracks RX being the one that is most, like 100 jobs, and I forget exactly the amount of investment, but because they can do same-day lab testing. So we're just definitely an asset for us. So, any further questions about, yes?
So
Councilman
so the day before the presentation in Milwaukee on the glide trip, we got an email that had a lot of the information that Chair Reno Weber's talking about. I can't remember if the email came from Lita, came from Trevor Paul, or if it came from Jeff's group, but if you haven't seen that email and some of these statistics that
I can pass that
Chair Reno Weber is talking about, it was really impressive.
Yeah.
And I just had no idea that our growth and the number of flights, all the things that they were doing. And once I saw that email, I was like, wow, this is impressive. So I don't know, Jeff, do you know if that email came out of your office or whether that came from Lita? Yeah. I mean, if you reach out to Jeff or Trevor or somebody and get that email, it was really impressive statistics on the airport.
I'll send it, just a second. Any further questions about the matter at hand? Excellent.
Thank you.
Seeing none, this is an item that requires a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, this will move on to the consent calendar. We will now move on to item number 3 on our agenda. The clerk will read the title of the ordinance, resolution.
A resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated sole source contract for Louisville Metro Department of Public Health and Wellness to purchase pack and plays and safe sleep kits, cribs for kids, $55,000 read in full.
Motion, second.
Is there anyone here to speak to this? Oh, you're here in person. I thought you were going to be virtual. Excellent.
Good
Welcome.
afternoon. I'm Mary Jolly, the Maternal Child Health Administrator at Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness.
Welcome. Can you speak to, anytime we have a sole source, we just want to understand why.
Of
this
course.
one is particularly weird, so.
Yeah, no problem. So this particular contractor is mandated from the state health department. So we have particular funds with Title V funding, and they mandate that we have to use this contractor for those pack and plays. So that's why we didn't have to do a bid.
Does anyone have any questions? Councilman Batchon.
Thank you so much. Now, pack and plays are for, like, obviously daycares and so on, and early childhood education place. Are they any different than the pack and plays that are required for the early childhood education facilities that are opening up with a different state requirement, or are they the same thing?
So it's completely separate. So this program is for community. So what we do is a family notifies us and lets us know that they don't have a pack and play for their baby to sleep in, and it's to address infant mortality in the community. And so they'll contact the health department or one of our partners, and we'll provide them with that safe place for them to sleep.
Which is wonderful. I think that's an amazing opportunity and thing that we do. But what is so different between your pack and play and Walmart's pack and play?
Right. So because we use Cribs for Kids, it comes with an education kit as well. So it comes with a brochure. It actually has information on it that says alone back crib to get the message around that we want baby to sleep on their back by themselves in that pack and play, because that will help prevent an infant death as well. It also comes with a a sleep mattress cover for it, a pacifier. It's just kind of a whole kit provided around education about providing a safe place for baby to sleep.
This is the Labor and Economics Committee, so I just want to just ask another question, if that's okay. It's a sole source contract, and it has my support, but if someone was to create a model that has this full embodied kit together, they would have an opportunity to bid on that same contract?
As long as the state says it's okay. So because we're state funded and the Title V money comes directly from the state, it dictates how we're allowed to use our funding, and we have to use this contractor. Now, if someone comes up and creates a model and works with the state and then they say that's approved, then that's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We would like to see that kind of entrepreneurship in District 25.
right.
Councilwoman.
Is there hands-on education that comes with this, or is it basically just, here's your brochure, here's your pack and play?
No, it's hands-on. So whoever provides the pack and play to the community or the family member, we actually do a demonstration on how to set the pack and play up, talk about the importance of the ABCs like I mentioned before, and just talking about how to put baby down safely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Any further questions? Seeing none, this is an item that requires a voice vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move on to item number 1. Will the clerk read the title of the item for special discussion?
Status report from the Office of Arts and Creative Industries, Commission on Public Art, read in full.
I need a motion. No, I don't? Oh. All right. Oh, I don't actually need that motion. Okay.
Hello, Jessica Kincaid. I am the director of the Metro Office of Arts and Creative Industries. Thank you for having me today. I'm here to report out on the status of a number of public art artworks, both in the Metro collection and that are found elsewhere in public space throughout Louisville.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I break in briefly just to let folks know, you guys and the public as well. The public art is a particular passion of mine, and in early June, I had published an op-ed in the Courier expressing some displeasure with the status of our public art procurement process that others and I discussed, and I wanted to set up a multi-step process to address that. That was step 1. Step 2 is today to find out what is status of existing art, and then step 3 is going to be the formation of a 7-person study group, which I will announce before Thanksgiving, and ask them to take a look at best practices locally, regionally, and nationally, and get back with a report probably at the end of the first quarter of 2026, and then see what they recommend and come back to my colleagues in this here and in other across the council to perhaps discuss some tweaks or replacement of the existing ordinance should that be necessary. But today, while we begin that process, which is going to take several months, it would be, I think, appropriate to find out what's out there and what we need to fix and what it's going to cost so we can begin to consider getting those things in good shape. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Certainly. So I was asked to present on 12 specific pieces, which I think I'll run through first, and then kind of provide some other information on the tail end. So the first piece was a decorative iron railing, the Corn Island Overlook railing, which is located along the Riverwalk at 10th Street. Doing research, does not seem that this is in the public art collection of Metro government. I did find some archived Courier Journal articles that indicated it was produced as part of the 1990s Riverwalk development. There was no artist mark or indication that it was fabricated by an artist studio. Not exactly sure what the provenance of this piece is. But given that it is sited on Metro property, I would expect that it might be under the purview of Waterfront Park or Metro Parks and Rec. I'm also happy to take questions as we go through.
Yeah, does anyone, if not, great, but as we're going through, if anyone want to ask questions about stuff, we can do that.
And by the way, these are 12 pieces that I was aware of. There may be other colleagues may be aware of others, and certainly we'd like to talk about those eventually as well.
Great. Seeing none, thank you.
So the second is the Louisville Slugger Walk of Fame. There are a number of bronze bats and home base plates that you have probably seen installed along Main and Market downtown. So this was also a privately initiated, developed project by Hilrick and Bradsby. The company paid for all of the project expenses, including the design, the fabrication, and installation. They are responsible for ongoing maintenance and ownership as well.
Is that in writing? And if so, do they have a certain amount of time, if it's in writing, to get those repaired? Because they have been missing for quite a while.
I could not find anything in the public art records. I did check with Public Works to see if they had any license agreement or encroachment permits on file. They weren't able to locate those files for us. I did reach out to a contact at Hilrick and Bradsby, and they said that they are working on it, but we do not currently have, I could not find a formal agreement.
Sure.
I have a question. Do you think that we can get one of these when they get working on for former U of L player Will Smith for the World Series win this past week?
I feel like that should be something that we could talk about in future sessions. Being generally in support of public art, and that, man, that's a dream.
So the next piece is called Breakfast with Tesla and the Enola Gay, which is outside of the Kentucky Science Center on the sidewalk. It was originally commissioned, the city appropriated funding to the Science Center to commission the sculpture as part of the West Main Street Streetscape project. The commissioning process was managed by the Louisville Development Authority. The Mayor's Committee on Public Art, which was a precursor to the current iteration of the Commission on Public Art, participated in the artist and selection and the design approval. It is in an active state currently. It did have kinetic components and lighting elements that are not currently active. The ownership and maintenance responsibility is with the Kentucky Science Center. They have all of the original documents, the object file in their records. We did have a group of conservators who were in town recently and did go by and look at this piece, so I have been in conversation with them about helping them figure out what it might take to reactivate that piece and repair that piece. There are a couple of different things. It's not ideally sited on the sidewalk. It might need to be moved back from the curb a little bit to prevent additional impact from field trips, school buses.
Revelers.
This piece is titled Happy Children. I have not actually seen this piece in person. It is in the possession of Louisville Downtown Partnership. It was originally donated by a private citizen to the Louisville Central Area, Inc., to be on display at the River City Mall. My understanding is that the successor entity to Louisville Central Area, Inc. is Louisville Downtown Partnership. I do think that the team there is working to find some alternate locations for this. I'm not privy to the details on that at the moment, though. I will say, in researching these pieces, I cross-referenced the object list with a couple of different sources, which were a property schedule provided by Risk Management of all of the things that they have on file in terms of artwork. We did work with Risk Management to get an appraisal of our collection done a couple of years ago to make sure that we are set for proper insurance coverage on it. This piece did not appear on that Risk Management property schedule, which is not surprising because it's not Metro-owned. The Louisville clock has had a storied past. It has moved half a dozen times to different locations. It was also privately funded and commissioned by the Louisville Central Area, Inc. It is currently in storage. It was last removed in 2015. I do think that maybe some further research is required to figure out who owns this piece. I did provide a report to the committee in advance with a lot more information and detail that shared some condition images. It is currently in storage on a Metro property. It would require significant work and significant investment to think about restoring this piece to a functional state.
Is it common that we just continuously store pieces like this indefinitely? If there's no future plans to restore them, or?
It is not. We are, the function is to be a public art collection, while other collecting entities like museums may only ever have 20% of their collection on display at any given time. That's obviously not the intent for public art. There have been a number of pieces that I'm aware of not a lot, but a few pieces that have been removed due to needing to make way for other development or, for public safety issues, or just the piece has fallen into disrepair and it's, requiring more investment to keep it functional than it would be to, decommission the piece. When appropriate, we have tried to find alternative places to locate those objects, whether it's, putting them on a long-term loan with a cultural institution, or, various different things. So no, that's never the goal, for sure. I was asked to present on the community crosswalks. There are 5 in the downtown area. I did want to point out that this project was actually initiated by the Office of Advanced Planning. I do have Mike King here with me as well if there are questions, but the Advanced Planning team was interested to explore tactical traffic calming installations. There had been some research done by Bloomberg Philanthropies to show that asphalt art actually creates a more pedestrian safe environment. In working with Public Works and the State Transportation Office about what would be, acceptable given the Uniform Traffic Code regulations, we started with an all-white design at one intersection, and then there was a second phase with a limited color scheme to install 4 more. There was traffic grade paint that was used, and we used it basically as a fact-finding endeavor to see how it stood up to high traffic count travel on metro roads, and to ensure that we were in fact creating a pedestrian-safe environment and not a distraction. So those were actually designed to be temporary pieces that would wear away. We have found that there's another product that is far more durable, and we have used that on a couple of other installations after the fact through a grant funded by Bloomberg, actually. So
I wanted to mention that I put those on the list because if they're meant, as they wear away, they just look, bad. And so either, I would suggest either redoing them in the better product, or power washing them up, because they just, at the condition right now, it just looks like nobody cares, and that's why I mentioned those.
Sure.
I have a question. How did the facts finding on the traffic calming for these particular crosswalks play out?
Good afternoon, Mike King, Louisville Metro Department of Transportation. It was a wash. It was about the same as it was before in terms of actual, there wasn't an increase or a decrease in crashes, whether it be for automobiles or pedestrians.
Thank
I
you.
would also add, these went away relatively quick. It had about a year shelf life. Normally, when we do traffic analysis, it's closer to 2 years is when we want to look at things to see if there's actual adjustments to people. But this one, it was pretty consistent across the board.
With the new material, will it last longer than a year?
It does. If you look at, for example, right outside of here at 5th and Jefferson Street, that was a city spot, which was a downtown partnership program, a partnership with multiple people. The street bond, it's weird. It's basically like some scientists who nerded out. They like doing rooftop materials, so they actually did finishing for roofs is how they started their business. And then over time, they learned that by mixing these certain chemicals together, they could get this product that actually adheres to the concrete. So they came up with this and have been pushing it in cities across the country. Because the city spot was not a city one, we did not do the pre-data on that. We do have another set of installations that Jessica referenced from a grant that we got through Bloomberg over on 28th Street that we have some pre-data on, and then once that we'll continue to monitor that, but then we'll have some findings after 2 years, and those are about a year old right now.
What is the cost outside of the Bloomberg grant to do something like this if we were to pay for it?
So there are kind of three products we've looked at. The first one is the traffic grade paint, which is the ones that were on 4th Street. They went away pretty quick. They're probably 20 to 25 cents a square foot. The street bond, just for the material, doesn't include the installation, is about $1.20 per square foot. Again, that's just for the materials. And then the best one we could possibly use would be thermoplastic, which is what we use for the majority of our roadway markings. That's where they actually melt plastic on there. That one's $53 a square foot. So it's a pretty big jump between those others. So we haven't been able to do that kind of installation. So it depends on it depends how detailed the design, those kind of things. But on average, it's about $1.20 per square foot just for the product. We have trained some artists to install those on 28th Street. Street Bond has professional installers that can do that as well. So it kind of depends on the project itself.
On 28th Street, is it just going to be something that's crosswalk related or something a little more detailed?
We did several crosswalks, as well as we created some new post-delineated bump outs. So basically, we kind of put some edge lines, and then there was a previous project that had already been in there that had these posts set up. So we were able to go in there and do some decorative treatments as well on those.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the next piece is the 1890 Tornado Memorial. It was designed by artist Jack Mackey, who worked with the landscape architecture firm that was contracted to do a lot of the West Main Street streetscape projects. It does commemorate the 1890 storm that did significant damage to Louisville. It was removed in 2014 as part of a development agreement with at 801 West Main Street. It is in stable condition. It does require conservation, but it could easily be reinstalled. The one consideration being that the artist intended it to be installed in somewhere in the path where the 1890 did the most significant damage to the city, so it is site responsive. There are a couple of different locations where this could potentially work. The next is the Louisville Knot, was produced by ISA Architects in 2016. It was part of the call for art was the 9th Street Underpass public art project. There was a great deal of community engagement done, trying to activate that space that may not have been previously so inviting to pedestrians, and to create sort of a visually interesting and active street environment. This project was commissioned jointly between Louisville Metro Government, Downtown Partnership, and with support from the Rotary Club. This is in good condition. There was a paint touch-up completed in July of last year, and it is under the responsibility of Arts and Creative Industries, and we have continued to receive some support from the Rotary Club on that.
Is there any lighting on that piece?
I do believe, I have the original schematics, I think, that I included in the larger report, and I do think it was wired for lighting, but I'm not sure. I can follow up and make
From
sure
the
that that.
overpass?
I'm sorry?
From the overpass? lighting down?
No, actually built into the installation.
I see, okay.
The next piece that we have is a series of works, actually. The project is titled Love in the Street, and it was part of a project series called Art Moves Louisville, focused on how to integrate different art installations into our transportation network, whether that be through pedestrian thoroughfares or otherwise. We worked with an artist named Lance Newman, who put a call out to Louisville residents to submit sort of short-form poems that were then incorporated into the sidewalk as part of there was already a sidewalk project being planned for that area, so it was incorporated into that project scope. It is a degree of normal wear and tear is expected, given that it's inviting people to walk over it daily, but it is in good condition. The sandblasting has held up well. We've worked with the original fabricator to do a bit of retouching here and there on areas that had lost the in-painting due to weathering or power washing or whatever.
One question on that, sorry. Your predecessor, that was with your predecessor, I believe, when that happened.
Yes.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I seem to remember that currently the poems are in the sidewalk, but there's no attribution. I believe I was told at that time that the poets would be mentioned on signage at the end of the blocks, and that phase 2 never occurred. And so we have these poems there without attributing the writers. So that's one of the reasons I asked about that. There is a wear and tear normally, but I believe phase 2, I think there was a phase 2 intended, but it never occurred.
Okay, I'll follow up on that and get back to you. This one is a bronze piece titled Pan. You all may have seen some interesting and sort of whimsical coverage about this piece in recent years. It has sort of a storied past. The original piece was cast to be displayed on the Belvedere. It was a gift from the Younger Women's Club of Louisville to the Riverfront Commission. The original was stolen pretty much immediately. There was a replacement cast. It sat on the Belvedere until the 90s when there was renovation and construction projects scheduled. It was removed. City records indicated that it was lost from storage, it went missing. So a third edition was cast in the early aughts and was installed elsewhere, maybe having better luck in a different location. So it is in Kennedy Court Park currently, but in 2023, the second casting was returned to the city through a really interesting turn of events. So the third casting is still on site, it's in good condition. And the second piece was returned. It was damaged, though. It used a bronze casting technique that resulted in investment material that stayed inside the statue, and so not knowing where it had been stored, how it had been treated in the intervening time frame, the investment material had frozen, so it is cracked the bronze open in a few places. So
Can you please enlighten us with like a couple sentences of how it was recovered? The second one was recovered or returned, or
Sure.
however you want to describe it.
So there used to be a series, I forget what it's called now, but it was Curious Louisville, I think is what it was called on FPL. And this woman wrote in and said, I used to work downtown, I used to go to the Belvedere and eat lunch every day, and I sat next to this statue and I really loved it, but it's not there anymore. What happened to it? This was in 2018. No, I'm sorry, 2000, I don't remember when that happened. So they did a profile on it, and they said, nobody really knows what happened to it. When we were contacted in 2023, we were contacted by a gentleman who said he had found this article online. His father had worked construction and was working on the Belvedere project, and when they were doing demo, the construction foreman told him that it was not intended to be kept. And he said, are you sure? This looks important, and if it's meant to be, demoed essentially, can I take it? And the construction foreman gave him permission to do that. So it sat on his front porch for a number of years. This is the story as it was recounted to me by the person who returned it to the city.
The
Thank you
best
to the person.
Halloween porch decoration ever.
Yeah, thank you to the person who returned it, but very interesting, and maybe we need to do a better job of telling our demo folks that these are pieces of art that are not to be destroyed.
Noted.
Of some sort. Thank you.
So this is a series of works, actually, that were cast in the 1990s as part of the West Main Street Streetscape project. Again, the artist that was working with the landscape architecture firm decided that he wanted to work with local artists to design these pieces. They are sort of functional art, if you will. They're tree guards. So he collaborated with a number of local artists to carve wooden walking sticks that were, that the design inspiration was correlated to a business or, something that had previously existed along West Main Street. And then they were they were fabricated out of cast iron and installed. They were removed during a tree well expansion project, I believe in 2020 or 2021, I'm not quite sure. They were Some of them were damaged upon removal. They are in storage. They are safe. They all have all been accounted for. We do have the original molds for these, so they could be, directly refabricated. We also, because the tree wells were expanded, the iron grates that you see there at the base that they're attached to would not be reused, but we could use that as sort of the raw material to do the refabrication so that all of the original components would be included. We have reached out to a couple of foundries and have an estimate for what it would cost to repair and reinstall these and sort of an associated timeline. That quote was received last year, so it may need to be updated.
And I think the art here was site and subject matter specific, that they were designed to match the original use of the building in which they were in front of, so that they can't just be placed anywhere. They were very specifically designed for these locations.
We did also reach out to the original artist to work with him on an idea for sort of like how to reimagine the installation. I think the preference would be for them not to be reinstalled so close back to the trees that were planted, so they would maybe need to be around the perimeter of the tree well. And then the last one is the Louis XVI statue. This was commissioned actually by the daughter of King Louis. It was given to the city of Louisville when we established a sister city relationship with Montpellier. It did sustain some significant damage in 2020 and was removed out of concern for public safety. The current condition is poor. The surface is deteriorating in a way it's called sugaring, which marble is known to do when power washed or subjected to acid rain repeatedly. There's also significant cracking throughout the sculpture. We have had the statue assessed by structural engineers. We've had some conservators perform stabilization and structural physical repair work, which included recreating some of the missing elements, reattaching failed tenon repair at the hand. And then we also put this out for bid to have the graffiti removed. We've put it out for bid twice. We did not receive any bids either time. We have set about directly contacting different restoration studios to see if they might be willing to undertake the work. We have one that has agreed to come and reassess, and they should be coming. We're firming up dates. It should happen the next couple of weeks by the beginning of December, and we'll report back at that time.
Do we have plans to execute the repairs and cleaning of the King Louis?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. We have a studio that's coming to look at, so we put it out for bid and we received no bids twice. So we have started doing some direct outreach to different restoration studios to see if they would undertake the work.
When that work is complete, do we have plans to place it in anywhere rather than storage?
We do not currently have a location identified. It is pretty clear that it should not go back outside, just given the structural condition. There are significant cracks. There's more than 74 feet of cracks in something that is only 11 feet tall. So everyone that has looked at it has recommended that it not be outside. If we do put it back outside, it will almost certainly undo all of the work to repair it. It will continue to deteriorate and fail. We have reached out to a number of different museums and cultural institutions to see if they would be amenable to displaying it. Given the size and the weight of the sculpture, there are not that many that can accommodate it.
An 11-foot king feels like might be appropriate to our new football team that will be coming, the Kings. So just as we think about where to go, they might be interested in displaying it somewhere inside because, they're generally, I believe, owned by some UFC folks. So I think that might be appropriate. Councilwoman McCraney.
Good idea. I can't remember, but it seems like last year maybe we allocated quite a bit of funds towards the restoration. Do you still have that amount left, or did that all go to the information you just gave us about the repairs?
So the capital appropriation was $200,000. We have spent, I can get you the exact figure, it's 67 and some change. And then there is an additional fee for this new restoration firm to come and provide a firm quote. We expect that it would be somewhere, I think in the $50,000 range for them to do the graffiti removal.
To get a quote, you have to pay them?
No, the estimate is around $4,000, but that gets built into the work performed. They've reviewed all of the treatment reports and documentation. They've provided a soft estimate, and they won't be able to firm that up until they see it in person and confirm that the methods that they intend to use would be effective. But all told, for the graffiti removal is estimated to be in the range of $50,000. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
I think that there are concerns on the council that this restoration is taking quite a bit of time, and there's no understanding of why. It just won't move forward and happen. I don't think that finding a location is the problem, but the restoration of it is really of concern. So do you know that maybe this is not a priority, or do you think there's going to be a greater need for more funding?
So I think they've tried twice to get somebody to bid on.
I heard her say that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they've now put out a bid 2 times and no one has bid on it. So I don't know that there's anything else that they can do besides the outreach that they are doing, unless I'm missing something. Councilman Benson.
Why does it have to be fixed? The Finks wasn't fixed, they didn't put a nose back on it. Why don't we put it the way it is? And maybe even put down at the bottom, said, this is from vandalism or something, some explanation, what we got here, but we're proud that this is who our city's after.
And perhaps there's, to add to this, my understanding is that it's.
I believe I could fix it. I know I can fix it.
Well, if you're willing to take on the insurance risk of.
I know. There's so many lawyers, and I touch it. Oh, you're sued. We're going to take everything you got. Wait a minute. Now, you're right. I guess I won't do it.
It might be a good shop class project. An 11-foot. How much does it weigh?
They don't have enough jobs, so they got to sue everybody. But if you really want to fix things, there's a lot of people who can fix things in our town.
How much does it weigh?
9 tons.
9 tons. So an 11-foot, 9-ton sculpture full of cracks. I also might be reluctant to take on the responsibility of doing it, but we can put it up for bid again. Is that?
Well, I want to be very clear that I was not throwing out any accusations or trying to force your hand at anything. I was just simply asking a question for those people in the back of the room who have questions. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else? Councilwoman Bast.
I have a few questions. Firstly, do you know how many monuments or statues we currently have outside?
I do not have a firm count, but I can get that back to you.
Just roundabout, maybe, just.
15 or 20, maybe.
And what does the normal maintenance look like on the other outdoor statues look like? Are they normal maintenance yearly? What does that look like?
So it's just in the last 3 years that we've received appropriations for conservation, regular conservation of our collection. In the past, that was undertaken on an ad hoc basis based on need. So we do receive $50,000 annually and have been working with a conservation firm to set a priority schedule based on their assessment, in-person assessment. We've prioritized things that we know have been interacted with in ways they're not intended to be in recent years, things that have been relocated to make sure that they are first and foremost safe to be in the public space. We have performed conservation on, I want to say it's like 23 different pieces so far in those first 3 years. We are starting to do, there's the initial treatment, which might have to be more intensive to, sort of undo environmental soiling that had accumulated over the course of a number of years. And then we're working on a paced schedule to make sure that we're maintaining those at a regular frequency so that we're not, we're maintaining the investment of that conservation. The conservators do recommend twice annual maintenance, preventative maintenance. That's not within our budget at this time. And it's, again, we have almost, I don't want to say we have over 180 pieces of public art in our collection. Not all of them are monuments. So we are working through a priority schedule on that.
Approximately, what does it look like on cost yearly on maintenance on outdoor public art?
We max out our $50,000 budget each year. It allows us, again, depending on the size of the piece, what kind of condition it's in, how much work is taken to get it to sort of a maintenance level on the first treatment, what we're able to sort of fold in as ongoing maintenance, because we also don't have any conservators that live in the state of Kentucky that can do this kind of work. Ours on contract are in Colorado.
Yes.
So if we were going to do this the way that it is recommended, if we were going to do this right, and we were going to do the twice yearly maintenance, do you have an estimate of what that budget would look like? And if not, can you come back with one? Just
Yes, I
like
can.
if we were actually following all the guidelines, I hear that you have been duct tape and, doing on a very minimal shoestring, but could you come back with, like, if we were going to appropriate appropriately?
Yes.
What that look like? Okay, thank you so much.
I guess that's kind of what I was leading into because, anything outdoors has to be maintained. I mean, a house, you just don't let a house sit. You have to do normal maintenance on the house to keep it properly how it should be. So prior to 3 years ago, we'll use King Louis as an example, there was no normal maintenance done on any of these statues who had sit outside for years and years.
That is correct.
Okay.
There would be, occasional, like I said, ad hoc maintenance done if they noticed that something was broken or that it had, like bronze turns green, if it oxidizes. So sometimes there would be appropriations for that, but I think the last time significant conservation had been done on our collection was early 2000s.
So when we're looking for bids, is it possible to say that someone may or may not be able to use a different material to fix the King Louis statue and kind of revamp it in its same statue, but using different material to repair it to where we could then place it?
Do you mean, is there the possibility of creating like a replica of the existing statue?
Yeah, I guess we could go with that. A replica
That is
of a different
definitely
material.
Yeah, that's definitely something that could be explored. It's Carrara marble, which is, even though it's stone and everyone thinks it's very hard and dense, it's actually, limestone is very soft. Marble is actually softer than you would think, especially in our climate. We have a freeze-thaw cycle. When a marble gets really porous and starts sugaring, it seeps water into it more easily. It also has natural veining in it. So if you think about it like wood grain, right? So there's veining in the marble. When the water seeps into it and it freezes, it expands from within, causing it to crack. So there might be more suitable material for our climate. Bronze holds up really well here. Some others, yeah.
And then lastly, just what does it look like on the growth of public art in other areas? Is that something you are working on expanding?
Like throughout Louisville, essentially? Yeah. We are actually currently in the process of, we're in sort of a rebuilding phase with the Commission on Public Art. We undertook a mapping and cataloging project to document where art is and is not in Louisville. So we could prioritize or, make sure that we're directing our efforts when we are commissioning new works to support art in public space in all of the areas of Louisville. We did issue a community mural grant project directly informed by that. We prioritized, or we asked artists to submit proposals for projects in areas that would fill in the service gaps on the map that we created. We also are in the process of finalizing an updated public art master plan. Our initial public art plan was drafted in 2010. It was supposed to be a 10-year plan, so we're a little bit behind, outside the band of that. We should be finalizing that plan by the end of the year. And it creates also some new siting priorities.
Okay, recognizing that we have 3 minutes
you.
left, and there's another committee coming back to back with this, so if, we'll take a couple of final thoughts, Councilwoman Rui, and then Councilman Hendon will let you close out.
Okay, very quick question. As I saw your stuff on the crosswalks, it made me think about the Cardinal logo in the middle of Central Avenue. And I'm assuming that was probably put there by U of L. And considering the amount of traffic, et cetera, it's held up pretty well, but it's definitely looking sad. Has anybody talked to U of L or whomever about getting it updated or anything?
That was a project that U of L did specifically kind of on their own. I don't know what their maintenance looks like on that. I don't know how often they go and touch that up. Being a state institution, they didn't really have to follow the protocols of what we follow at Louisville Metro.
Okay, but no one's talked to them directly?
We have not. That was an installation they did, so there was no kind of agreement or anything like that, of maintenance or anything like that. So ultimately, it would be a maintenance thing on them.
Sad Cardinal.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Herndon.
Very quickly, two things on the procurement process. I want to make it clear that just because these 12 items are primarily or almost exclusively down here, I said we would love to have art everywhere. Everybody deserves art no matter where they are, so I want to pursue that aggressively. But on the maintenance of it, I'm a deferred maintenance geek, whether it's sidewalks, painting light poles, or whatever. But the difference is you can always put a fresh coat of paint on a light pole. You can always pour another slab of concrete. But these items are particularly delicate and important, and we can't continue to defer maintenance on any of our public art. And I look forward to seeing what the cost would be to properly care for this artwork. So thank you for all the work that you did.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here and you're being so responsive to questions ahead of time and here. Certainly happy to have you back to continue to talk and look forward to the strategic plan. So we'll go from there. All right, it is now 3:59 Apple time. We are stand adjourned.